Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
A black man who had run naked through the streets of a western New York City died of asphyxiation after a group of police officers put a hood over his head, then pressed his face into the pavement for 2 minutes, according to video and records released Wednesday by the man's family. Daniel Prude died March 30th after he was taken off life support, 7 days after the encounter with police in Rochester. His death received no public attention until Wednesday, when his family held a news conference and released police body camera video and written reports they obtained through a public records request. How did you see him and not directly say, "The man is defenseless, buck naked on the ground. He's cuffed up already"? Come on. How many more brothers gotta die for society to understand that this needs to stop? Prude's brother, Joe Prude, asked at a news conference Wednesday. The videos show Prude, who had taken off his clothes, complying when police asked him to get on the ground and put his hands behind his back. Prude is agitated and shouting as officers let him writhe as he sits on the pavement in handcuffs for a few moments as a light snow falls. Then, they put a white spit hood over his head, a device intended to protect officers from a detainee's saliva. At the time, New York was in the early days of the coronavirus pandemic. Prude demands they remove it. Then the officers slam Prude's head into the street. One officer holds his head down against the pavement with both hands, saying "Stop spitting" as Prude's shouts turn to whimpers and grunts. Another officer placed a knee on his back. The officers appear to become concerned when they notice water coming out of Prude's mouth. "My man. You puking?" one says. Prude stops moving and falls silent. One officer notes that he's been out, naked, in the street for some time. Another remarks, "He feels pretty cold." His head had been held down by an officer for just over 2 minutes. Medics can then be seen on the video performing CPR before he's loaded into an ambulance. Spit hoods have been scrutinized as a factor in the deaths of several prisoners in the U.S. and other countries in recent years. A medical examiner concluded that Prude's death was a homicide caused by complications of asphyxia in the setting of physical restraint. The report lists excited delirium and acute intoxication by phencyclidine, or PCP, as contributing factors. Prude was from Chicago and had just arrived in Rochester for a visit with his family. Police responded after Joe Prude called 911 to report that his brother had left his house and was experiencing mental health issues. The city halted its investigation into Prude's death when State Attorney General Letitia James' office began its own investigation in April. Under New York law, deaths of unarmed people in police custody are often turned over to the Attorney General's office, rather than handled by local officials. James said Wednesday that investigation is continuing. "I want everyone to understand that at no point in time did we feel that this was something that we wanted not to disclose," Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren said at press briefing. "We are precluded from getting involved in it until that agency, the AG's office, has completed their investigation." One officer wrote that they put the hood on Prude because he was spitting continuously in the direction of officers and they were concerned about coronavirus. Still, activists demanded that officers involved with Prude's death be prosecuted on murder charges and that they be removed from the department while the investigation proceeds. "The police have shown us over and over again that they are not equipped to handle individuals with mental health concerns. These officers are trained to kill, and not to de-escalate. These officers are trained to ridicule, instead of supporting Mr. Daniel Prude," Ashley Gann of Free the People Rock said at the news conference with Prude's family. Protesters gathered Wednesday outside Rochester's public safety building, which serves as police headquarters. Free the People Rock said several of its organizers were briefly taken into custody after they entered the building while Warren was speaking to the media. They were released on appearance tickets, said Iman Abed, regional director of the nightclub, who was among those taken into custody.
He says he has corona, but he also, I don't know, couldn't tell you anything.